welcome to another episode of the Miles Offside podcast, where we talk a little bit of hithertos and a whole lot of Y4s. My name is Oscar Puente, also known as Footy From Afar, and with me, as always, are my co-hosts, almost birthday boy Chuck Bailey and birthday boy Ian Stimson. Gentlemen, it is birthday week. I can only assume that you are both drunk.
Yeah, I am drinking, but I am drinking a 2% Radler because I want it to feel like summer in my mouth. I'm driving, guys, so that's fair enough. Ian, how many pints of wine in are you right now?
Like a Sam Allardyce situation.
Where are we? Are we past Allardyce and are we up to Ashley yet? Are we quite there?
No, not quite. I'm not vomiting in a fireplace.
Okay.
Just yet. Pencil that in for 9 p.m. No, I'm 3/4 of a bottle of wine in. You know, it's good times. You're only 38 once. You know.
Yeah.
So.
Well, you've been saying you're 38 for years.
Fuck off.
Thank you, Chuck. I was about to make that joke. Excellent.
You're welcome.
Okay, so this is one, right? So someone at work came in the other day and said, "Oh, how was everyone's Christmas? And did you have any sort of positive cases over Christmas?" And I said, "Oh, well," I said, "my son tested positive before Christmas, so that didn't help." And his response was, "Oh, could he not come home for Christmas then?" The assumption being, I had an 18-year-old son, an adult son. I was absolutely furious.
I mean, you have a kid at 20, you'd have an 18-year-old right now. 20's not that insanely young.
Look at me. I wasn't having sex at 20.
You're not having sex at 38.
Exactly. It was a very short window.
Yeah, we know. We've heard. Yeah, it is the birthday, so let's try to get this out of the way so you can go back to celebrating and enjoying yourself.
Celebrating. Speaking of celebrating, I know it's not Premier League, but all three MOP teams won this weekend.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right. The FA Cup or League Cup, one of the two. I don't know. I didn't watch.
FA Cup.
Chelsea beat some team with a C.
League Cup. Chelsea also in it. Yeah, won against Tottenham.
There you go.
So you're in
All
the Carabao. FA Cup.
Cups.
Yeah. You beat Chesterfield. Just the 5-1. Chesterfield celebrated the sixth goal as if it was a winner.
Well,
good on
not
them.
every day you get to score on the reigning European champions, you know.
I'm behind that. Swindon as well, scoring against Man City, and had a lovely old night by the looks of it. You've got to celebrate when you score against a team like Man City or Chelsea. Of course you have.
Yeah, as long as they didn't do a lap of honour, Ian is totally fine with them celebrating.
That's an achievement. I would accept a lap of honour. I need some achievement for there to be a lap of honour.
Would if there had been another lap of honour at St James's Park where Cambridge won, maybe they might have been home. Who knows? No, it was at St James's Park. Would you have been fine with that after Cambridge United knocked out the richest club in the world?
What if Cambridge did a lap of honour?
Yeah, if Cambridge did a lap of honour, is that acceptable?
No, because Cambridge are disgusting scummers. They can't do that. They're not allowed
okay.
that.
So we're not. I'm just trying to gauge where we're at on the pyramid.
Of course, that would be fine. Where are Cambridge? League 2?
There's
1,
50.
whatever.
If we look at the league, there are 59 places between them in the league
Obviously,
structure.
that's fine if Cambridge want to have a lap of honour. I mean,
Yeah.
I hate Cambridge, but that's fine, yeah.
Not as good as Kidderminster. Yes, that's the name of a place, Oscar, who beat Reading.
Thanks.
And there's 79 places between them. They are non-league.
That is a lot.
Non-league. Who did Peterborough beat?
Peterborough beat Bristol Rovers, League 2 Bristol Rovers. So what?
I know Bristol Rovers. I've heard of them.
Nice. And
good.
we beat racism. So that's who Palace beat.
Yeah, exactly. Yours is the greatest victory.
Racists, homophobes, you can all fuck off, you bunch of
Yep, any and all of those things. Absolutely 110%. Yeah.
Cheers.
And Nottingham Forest beat Arsenal. So
That's the biggest upset. Let's face
Is
it.
that really a thing? My goodness. I don't keep up with the FA Cup or the Cup results because I don't care.
fun weekend, mate. It's a fun weekend.
Oh my goodness. Any other craziness? Is Liverpool still around? Is what happened with United?
Liverpool were 1-0 down to Strawberry Town, but they Strawberry Town lost in the end. Morecambe were 1-0 up against Spurs until like the 79th minute, but then lost 3-1.
Everton made a meal of Hull City, didn't they?
Yeah. Did they win? No? Oh, yeah. Everton won. Yeah, they did, didn't they? Barrow. Yep, that's a place, not just a garden instrument.
Sure.
Were 2-0 and 2-0 and a man down to Barnsley, and then there were 5 goals in the last 12 minutes of the game that made it go to 4-4, and then
lovely stuff.
It finished 5-4 after extra time. Just glorious, just so much fun.
Burnley went out to Huddersfield as well. Huddersfield. So
goodness. Well, some or all of those teams will... no, not all of those teams, but some of those teams will feature momentarily. Because we're going to get to our very special episode. Actually, I'm excited for this one. We do this once a year. It's wrapping up the Tinsel Window, giving grades to all 20 teams over the crazy fixture holiday period. But I need to do my second intro, and I don't have a natural transition to it this week, so I'm just going to blurt it out. If you are joining us for the first time, thank you. We are very happy to have you. We are one American and 2 Brits, and we try to talk about the Premier League, but often get distracted. If you're back, thanks. We love you. We appreciate it. 5-star review right now.
Instantly, right now.
Patreon.com/milesoffsidepod. Join us on the Slack. Get some spreadsheets, maybe some socks, depending on your level of income and willingness to part with said income for this one.
Fuck me, you are good at this now, Oscar. You are so good at this now.
Slick.
I know. It's my Americanness. We're naturally inclined towards commercialism.
Capitalism for the win.
But yeah, this week we're just doing grading the Tinsel Window, so I figured we would run backwards up the table in expected points order, because of course.
How long is the Tinsel Window? So this is something we've coined. This is the festive fixtures. How long are we going back?
I say we. I think I coined that.
Unbelievable.
Credit due, yes. No, that's a great one. That is like something that's going to stick, I think, the Tinsel Window.
That and pomegranates. That's what we'll be known for at the autopsy. No,
cool. Good to know we're individually copyrighting what we say. Fine.
Yeah, and fruit. We came up with it because, as we all know, the December window is chaos, and so you've got back-to-back fixtures and game weeks that just run all the way through, and so we kind of take a bit of a wider lens look at that period to see who actually won that period, who did badly, and whether they deserve to or not. Obviously, the massive caveat we all have here, because we don't want to keep apologising for it every time, is that loads of fixtures didn't happen. I think it was like 15 or so didn't happen across this period. So the games do range from 4 to 7 matches played. So a bit of a pinch of salt with some of these numbers, but fuck it, we're going to talk about it anyway.
Yeah, so Ian, to directly answer your question, I have the cutoff happening at December 10. Sounds like Chuck may have had it at December 4, potentially.
December the 3rd. December
3rd. Okay, I did it for the 10th because from there, that's when there's no more than 2 days between scheduled fixtures after that. There was a little midweek break that week.
I based all of the quiz off it starting on December 3rd.
Okay, so we are starting on December 3rd then, which means City played 7 matches and Chelsea played 7 matches.
Thank you.
All right, well, Ian, we have decided to start with December 3rd.
Understood.
And that is because there are no more than 3 days between scheduled fixtures from that December 3rd date to this recent break.
Chuck's got Radler all over his mic.
Yep, I got an actual spit take. I love it. That makes me happier than anything
can
in
as
the
well.
world.
All up there, right up there. Nostrils. Just start talking about how shit Watford are, okay?
Yeah, all right. So going backwards up the table in expected points order, we got Watford and Norwich. I'm just going to put them both in last place because they both got 0 points.
0.
And less than 2 expected points. Watford on 1 expected point and Norwich on 1.8 expected points over that time frame. 3 goals scored between the two of them. Norwich did not score at all.
3 goals scored between 2 teams over 9 games.
Yeah, in a month and a crowded month at that.
Wow.
Yeah, okay. They're bad. F minus for both of them. Do either of you disagree on any level?
No.
Of course not.
It's kind of just to, don't want to dwell on it too much, but it is kind of fun when all of the stats and reality both point to who is really shit. Like, they're in the bottom 3 for the whole season, and then for the Tinsel Window, they're the bottom 2, unexpected and actual. And so it's just like completely vindicated and fine in saying how shit they both are.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. From one shit team to the next, then I guess we'll just keep going up the table. We had 18th place Burnley, 1 point over the Tinsel Window, 2.7 expected points, 2 goals scored, 7 conceded, not that much, and just really bad. Really, really, really bad as usual. It is Burnley. Are we getting increasingly worried about Burnley going down?
Well, define worried. I think Chuck decided that teams like Burnley and Wolverhampton Wanderers at the minute, we're just done with these teams at the minute.
I just don't see
dull football.
It's frustrating that only 3 teams go down this year.
It is annoying. You're absolutely right.
But I also shouldn't complain that there are 4 teams that are so shit that, like, I mean, Palace haven't got 6 points against all of them. Hell, I think we've only played 2 of them. So we've played 3 games and got 5 points in those 3 games. But, you know, so it's nice to have the gimmies of points. But just from the neutral perspective of having those teams in, like, fuck. And Burnley have scraped along for so long now, defying all of the odds, that I think most people just won't feel like they should just go away for a bit.
Absolutely. I'd have no problem with Burnley going down at all. And have you heard the hilarious news that Newcastle are looking at triggering the release clause that is apparently in for Chris Wood, so they would be able to take Wood off of their relegation rivals, because there's apparently a release clause that they can trigger for, I don't know, 20-something million. I mean, Chris Wood's going to solve all of Newcastle's problems, obviously. But
because no one else wants to go to Newcastle. Because no one else wants to go to Newcastle. They all put Saudi flags in their fucking Twitter handles. They all walked around dressing up as Arab men to realise, oh shit, it's not career mode. People actually need to come to us.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Anyway, but I just thought it was funny that one of their actually decent players could be nicked by a relegation rival.
Here's a question, not to jump ahead a little bit because we'll touch on this team. Would the two out of, we assume Norwich and Watford are just gone, right, basically, because of stats and whatever. Would you rather Burnley or Newcastle go down?
Burnley. Any day, every day. All day. I fucking hate Burnley. Be gone already. Go away. I hate Burnley.
But for the comedy, surely Newcastle.
Oh, God. Oh.
Richest club in the world, taken over. We're going on about buying Mbappe, Haaland, singing songs about we've got Lionel Messi, washing the cups, saying about how rich they are.
Yeah.
How good would it be if Newcastle got relegated?
Yeah, that'd be pretty enjoyable. A little bit of karmic justice, too, for, all the human rights transgressions.
Yeah, that balances out.
But that being said, apart from the whole human rights transgressions, war crimes and stuff, part of me does feel like I should side with Oil Mega Club as a Chelsea fan. Like, it is the right way. The solidarity in hatred or being hated.
This feels weird.
No, because I think you also kind of want to be the only one that makes it, one of the only ones that make it stick,
True. Yeah, I mean, we did have Monaco come in and then fall out a few years ago. And I don't need it to be the, Magnificent Seven. What would the name be for the 7? Right now it's the Big 6, but there's got to be something cool with the 7. The Super 7. No.
Secret No.
No, that's Enid Blyton. You can't have book titles. You'll get done for copyright.
Okay.
Well, listeners, if you have a clever name for the inevitable Super 7, Big 7 or whatever, write in, let us know. But...
Oh, hang on. We're meant to be grading all these, right? So Burnley, 1 point from 4 games, 2 goals, a C? Is that
expected? Yeah,
that's generous. I'd give it an F.
It's
Maybe
F.
not an F-, but an F for me.
It's a very clear F. Yeah.
Yeah. Imagine the bar being so low and yet still managing to limbo under that bar of expectation. Incredible, isn't it? Congratulations.
Continuing up the table, we get to a team that might be of some interest. Southampton, 7 goals scored, 9 allowed, only 6 total points on 3.4 XG. Gentlemen, thoughts on Southampton?
It's weird because I thought Southampton did okay during this period, but overperforming that much. And I guess as well, you can kind of take them as a pair with Wolves, because they both overperformed quite a lot and are still sat as the 4th and 5th team, 4th and 5th team worst in the league. That's not great. Clearly doing, and especially because Southampton conceded 9 off 9.4 XG as well, whereas Wolves was 2 goals off of 8.2. Their defence wildly overperformed during that period, which obviously directly shows why they've done well. But yeah, I kind of thought Southampton were better, although there's been quite a bit of talk about Hasenhüttl getting binned again, isn't there? We kind of come up to that time after fixture craziness.
Yeah, that always comes up though every year. Like, that's just, rumors be doing rumors. For me, I would give them some benefit of the doubt because of their schedule over that time frame. If you look at their fixtures, they played Leicester, Brighton, Arsenal, Palace, West Ham, and Tottenham.
Oh, fuck. Oh, Jesus. Yeah, that's really good.
So I think, like, their numbers, they overperformed against those teams and still put up not the worst, literally not the worst numbers. Not good numbers, but, like, given that run of games, you got 4 good London teams, Leicester, and then Brighton.
Yeah, only losing to Arsenal as well, which, that's considering the form Arsenal were in, that's not too bad. We'll come on to them, sadly, in quite a long time. But yeah, I'd say, you know what, Oscar, I'll put this as like a C+. I think if it's an acceptable C. No, a C. Just a C.
I agree, a C, because exactly that. I'm being very basic about it, but I'm just looking at the fixtures and, they beat West Ham, who you wouldn't expect them to beat. They drew against Tottenham with 10 men, lost to Arsenal, like you say, but drew against Crystal Palace, drew against Brighton. That sounds all right to me. Because of the fixtures, it feels like a C. I mean, the Southampton over this period, if you just take a straight league table, not XG, they were in 14th. I don't know where we place Southampton these days. I genuinely don't. And so, but 14th feels fine for this period because of the fixtures.
Yeah, they sit in that bubble, don't they, of teams that if they got into the top 10, they've done well. So I think a 14, 13, yeah, fair enough. Yeah, C, expected.
Yeah, C for me also. That fixture is pretty tough. Fixture list, rather. And if we're going up to the next team, that's also kind of be a theme here with them. We had Wolves putting up 7 points on 3.5, so a wild overperformance, literally double. And scoring 2 goals, allowing 2 goals. So kind of a lot of nothing.
It's fucking boring.
But if you look at their runs, the only 2 losses in that time were to Liverpool and City. Both only 1-0s. They drew with Chelsea, they beat Man United, and they beat Brighton. That is an incredibly difficult run of fixtures. And for them to get those results out of those, including the losses only being 1-0 to Liverpool and City, I would give that a pretty decent score. I think I'd give that like even a B-, despite them being so low.
Yeah, I think you consider that fixture run it is pretty mad. A couple of postponed fixtures in there as well that they, one would have been Watford, the other Arsenal. So probably against Watford they get the win there, and who knows against Arsenal. But yeah, I do think all the clean sheets they had. What was it, like 6 in 8 clean sheets, apart from when they played Palace and they got smashed 2-0. Yeah, we destroyed them. They did really well, but it's just that it's very dull. They're very boring to watch. They're not fun.
No, they're so boring.
Feels Hodgson-esque. And so I still think it's that type of football where, like Spurs had it at the start of the season. Like when you're winning with it, you're kind of okay with it for a bit. But then the second the results turn, you know what I mean? Or you get a bad result against a bad team, that you'd like to go at. It kind of winds up the fans a bit. I mean, like we said last time, they scored in 19 games. They've had 14 goals for and 14 goals against. Like the only team that scored less than them this season is Norwich. I don't know how sustainable it is, even though technically they did well out of that period.
I would go along with a B. I think again it's a fixtures thing really, but winning away to Man United doesn't seem like any great shakes at the minute. But you'll take it as a Wolves fan, won't you? And winning away to Brighton seems like a big deal this season as well. So yeah, I mean Wolves have got to be happy with that. So I'd go for a B, despite how dull they are.
Do we think Traore will leave? There's rumors that he's going to Conte wants him at Spurs to teach him how to be a wingback.
Really?
Just let him run. Just let him run free, run fast, run hard.
Was there going to be a swap deal there with Doherty? Is he going to go back?
I forgot about him. I forgot he existed. He was really good that one season in fantasy, but...
That one season.
Shall we continue up the table then?
Yeah, these shit pricks are next.
Yep, these shit pricks indeed. Newcastle United putting up 4 points on 3.5 expected, so performing to their numbers. 3 goals scored, 12 allowed, also pretty much to their XG numbers. They suck. They're bad.
Yep, they suck. They're underperforming. Oh, funnily enough, as I said, Eddie Howe isn't a revolutionary. They've signed Kieran Trippier, which I think is fine for them. He improves their squad for this season. But also Callum Wilson is injured for the next 2 months. He's got that in his locker. Funnily enough, all the fans on Twitters and stuff are getting wound up because they haven't signed 1 million players yet and splashed all the cash. Their standards are rapidly changing. Who knows? If Chris Wood from Burnley is what you're aspiring to.
Oh, not just him. There's Sri Lanka. There's all sorts.
Yeah,
Origi.
Divock Origi won't leave Liverpool. Like, that's
and
absolutely
neither should
mad. He should not. He's got himself so fucking sweetly set. I don't know. He still gets in the Belgian team. Does he want to go to Newcastle? Because there is a bit of a domino effect, I think, if they do get transfers for people to go. But like, they're getting mugged off. Like, they tried to get Luca Dean, and because for some reason Everton want rid of him, and now it's looking like Luca Dean's just going to Villa because they're just playing career mode and just throwing money at everything.
Where'd that money come from? Suspicious.
Yeah.
Well, they did sell Jack Grealish, but yeah.
Yeah, but they spent 100 million the same window. The same window, they spent 100 million. Obviously, we don't know how it was balanced or whatever, but this is what's mad, the only positive for Newcastle is Joelinton in the midfield. He's been really good.
For a few games, sure.
Yeah.
That is it. That is the only positive.
That's it. Yeah. Lap of honour. They've won 1 game this season. That brilliant stat that Cambridge have won against the same number of Premier League teams as Newcastle this year,
That's so good.
Fuck's sake.
Well, let's check in on the relegation percentages. We have Norwich at 91%, Newcastle at 75%, Watford at 52%, and Burnley at 42%, so kind of a toss-up between the two of them at the moment. We extended a courtesy to the previous 2 teams for their fixture difficulty. Newcastle did have Leicester, Liverpool, City, and United all in a row after Burnley in the Tinsel Window, so a terrible fixture. Do we give them any benefit of the doubt, or are we like, but they're actually just shit, so who cares? They got smashed 4-0 by Leicester, 3-1 by Liverpool, and 4-0 by City, so there's not the, kept it close thing. Either.
Maybe, but I mean, in the previous 14 games, they got 7 points, so no.
Yeah, we're halfway through the season.
That was actually them getting a better points per game than they've had all season.
Yeah.
So, this was good. This was... Fuck them.
So I'm going to say C- here, because they were terrible, but they did have sort of hard fixtures, but, they've just been terrible always, and they are terrible, so...
F+.
Fair enough.
That's what a D is. The plus is Joelinton.
I'll go D, because it's just... It's not great for Newcastle, but... as in where they might have wanted to be from the start of the season, but it was like you said, it was a tough
Eddie Howe is not the person to fix this.
He's not.
Eddie Howe is not the fucking person to fix this. No one. Oh, it's just so brilliant.
You're
so happy.
Loving this.
I'm fucking loving it. I don't like Eddie Howe. I don't like Newcastle now. I used to like Newcastle. Not anymore. They can fuck off back to the Championship. It will be hilarious. And Dwight Gale will get them promoted again.
They'll sign Mitro.
And then it'll go, yeah, exactly. Fulham will get promoted. Newcastle will get relegated. Mitro will move to Newcastle, score another 30 goals in the Championship, and that would just be the cycle.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
That'd be really great. I'd love to see Mitro banging in goals in black and white up north. But let's move on to the next team. We have Everton. Everton putting up 4 points on 3.8 expected, so pretty much spot on. 6 goals scored, 8 allowed on 5 goals XG generated, and 8 allowed. So exactly to their numbers. Their fixtures over that, they did have quite a few cancellations, but they had Arsenal, Palace, Chelsea, and Brighton. Thoughts on Everton?
Shit, move on.
The problem you got with Everton is, while they might have performed to their numbers, those numbers are fucking terrible.
They're shit.
Yeah, they're fucking terrible.
500 million on transfers under their current regime in the last few years. 500 million.
Oof.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck them.
I mean, we talked about how terrible they've been last week, Chuck, and my God, like losing just before this window, we're talking about losing 4-1 to Liverpool. And then, Palace beat them 3-1, didn't they? Brighton beat them. I mean, fair enough, they drew with Chelsea.
Any decent team beats them.
There you go.
Fuck off. Well, they Burnley the fuck. We did 3.2. Whatever. It doesn't matter. Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, anyway, move on.
I'll throw them an F also. Those numbers are terrible.
Yeah,
they're terrible.
And they should on paper be better. But fucking Rafa sucks, so fuck him. Speaking of should on paper be better, we have Leicester next up. They scored 6 points on 4 expected, so they overperformed, scoring 9 goals and 8 allowed on 6 generated and 9 allowed. So a slight overperformance. In the attacking column, the fixtures for Leicester, hold on, let me open that tab. We had Villa, Newcastle, Tottenham, which got cancelled, City, and Liverpool. So again, City and Liverpool really making the rounds this time. A lot of people had them twice, but then 3 pretty bad teams for Leicester to be facing here. What do you boys think?
Leicester are the top of the teams with 4 fixtures throughout this period. They got the most points per game out of those teams. The main story now kind of is them getting their fixtures postponed because they have 16 players out, but one of those has COVID.
Yeah.
So they're the ones kind of manipulating the system. They've just played Watford in the FA Cup, smashed them 4-1 when Watford had a pretty decent side out for Watford. But then, now they're just getting games postponed because of AFCON, etc., etc. All their injuries are long-term, which for me begs the question, at what point then do they not get their fixtures postponed? I think it's mad that this is allowed to happen when in a normal season you just play. I know there's a plague going on, but still, just
the plague.
But if there's potentially one player who has COVID in that team.
They should have different cancellation rules for COVID-related injuries or 100%. Absences versus non. Doesn't seem that hard to do.
No, but definitely. It shouldn't just be based... The weird rule they've got of if you can put 13 players out, then you should fulfil the fixture. It's like, well, if they go outside the stadium, they can find some fit people to play football. I know I'm being facetious there, but it's just sort of... It's ridiculous. It should be judged on actual positive tests. And as I said before, I don't think it should be judged on unvaccinated people who are having to isolate as a result of being unvaccinated. For me, that doesn't count. There should just be a number in the Premier League squad of COVID positive tests that means you call off the game. Because like you say, how long is this going to go on for, Chuck? Like with AFCON? I mean, are they just going to, for 3 weeks now, just not play games? 3-4 weeks?
Potentially, and then what's going to fucking happen? Because a lot of their injuries are long-term ones as well. I mean, Vardy's out for a few months. Daka has injuries for a while. Fofana is obviously out for the season, just to name a few. Mostly because I can't name the rest. But genuinely, if you go on Ben Dinnery's site, he has 16 listed. And that obviously includes absences for AFCON for players like Ndidi, Iheanacho, but yeah, it's just a bit mad, I think, that this is allowed to be used as a thing. But, anyway, Leicester, C.
Yeah, I agree with C. Yeah.
Fine.
Sure, I'll go with C. I'll throw it on there. So officially a C for Leicester. From one L team to another, we go to Leeds. Leeds putting up 4 points on 5 expected, 8 goals scored, 17 allowed.
17.
Goodness gracious. That is the most over the Tinsel Window. 6.7 generated and 12 conceded. That is also the most. So the worst defense over the Tinsel Window, Leeds.
I mean, they've also had loads of injuries. That's been mad.
Their defence has been non-existent. Yeah.
Yeah, they've been playing Shakespeare characters. On their bench, Chris, I don't even know how to pronounce his name. Crescencio Somerville, Crescencio. Who fucking knows? But Yeah, they're still running 150 miles every match. And, 1 win, 1 draw, 3 losses. Looked better. But, yeah, you can't...
Only beat Burnley, though. Come on.
Oh, is that who they beat?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
E? D? E? Is he a
now,
thing?
those ridiculous defense numbers do have a big old 7-0 spank down from City in there. And 3.3 conceded XG on that match as well. So that is going to skew the numbers a bit. They also played Chelsea and
I'm
Arsenal.
still counting those goals.
Yeah.
Real life goals.
Palace kept a clean sheet against City. You know what I mean? And scored 2 goals. I'm not going to keep going on about it, guys, but it's possible. Everyone goes, oh, Arsenal did well for 45 minutes. We did well for 90. That's the real quiz. Leeds, E. Don't know if that's a thing.
Perfectly happy with an F for Leeds. I think they're certainly a victim of circumstance in a way because of the massive amount of injuries, but it's hard to judge that this year when there's so many injuries and COVID-related absences anyway. So I'm going to have to say an F. I think they need to buck up their ideas.
Sounds good. I'll give them an F also, just to be in solidarity with you guys. And anytime you lose 7-0, not a great day.
F.
Let's go up the table then a little bit to teams that are actually starting to have some decent-ish numbers. First of those being Brentford. We have a 2 XG expected points jump here. Brentford 7 points on 6 expected generated points. 6 goals scored, 7 allowed on 5 generated and 5 allowed. So pretty close to their numbers. The fixtures for Brentford were Villa, City, Brighton, Watford, and Leeds. So not the most terrifying.
I think they had one of the better fixture runs, didn't they?
Yeah, they did.
Sure.
But, I mean, a promoted team getting 7 points out of those 5 games, that's pretty decent.
Absolutely. Yeah.
They lost to City, but considering how rampant City had been at that point, to only concede 1, both regular and expected goal, was quite good. And Brighton Burnley against them just a little bit. So pretty good, I'd say. I think we do forget that Brentford are a promoted team. I think that some of the established teams that we mentioned already have been so fucking turgid that you could easily think that Brentford are the team that have been there for a few years. So
yeah, and in the excitement of the new stadium, the Moneyball tactics, the charismatic manager, the winning against Arsenal in the first Friday night of the season, it was all sort of, we all got caught up in it. And you're right, It is very easy to forget that they're a promoted team. I think that in this Tinsel window, the game against Watford, where they got that last minute penalty and Momo scored it, that I think could be, if Brentford get themselves into the mire, that game could be really important at the end of the season, because I think they tonked Watford that night, really. It's just that they needed the last minute penalty to win, and I think it's that sort of game you could look back on and go, that was one of the ones that put Watford down,
Yeah, exactly, because Watford would have been targeting that game in that kind of way and not being able to do that. But yeah, Oscar, you said about the stats numbers, but 11th place in the table over the Tinsel window and 11th place on expected.
Solidly mid-table, and, talking about from the perspective of them, coming up as a promoted team. And not only that, they came up as a team, I don't know if you remember us talking about this in the preseason, but they said that they were a year early in terms of their long-term plan and their vision and their ability to stay up. They were really concerned about going straight back down. They kind of basically said, well, if we do go back down, we'll come back up eventually. We just happened to get there early. Now they're only 4% to go down, and that seems high, honestly.
Single figures after halfway through the season for a promoted side.
Yeah.
Fantastic stuff. Really fantastic stuff.
Yeah.
And I will give them, in terms of my grade here, a B. B for Brentford.
I'll give B for
especially
Brentford.
because the result against City was so minimal. Like, they didn't give up 2.9 or anything crazy.
Yeah, agreed. B sounds good.
Let's move up the table then to another BR team, and this one is Brickton.
F.
F, just F.
Yeah.
Fine with me. Ian, do you want to add?
You can't let him get away with an F.
I can!
I mean, it's his birthday this week, so I'm not, and it's Brighton. I don't give a fuck about Brighton. I'm happy to give him an F.
Oh, come on, that is outrageous. An F.
Fine. It's Ian's birthday today specifically, so I'll say the
Brighton to
numbers.
get
Oh, here it
recognition.
is, right. For his birthday, he really, all this time over the last 3 years that Brighton have been in the Prem, Ian wants to get his chance. So now, okay, mate, it's on your birthday. You can do as much analysis of Brighton as you'd like. I'm just going to sit here quietly.
I have no desire to do analysis of Brighton. I just think it's outrageous to dismiss a team that is over the tinsel window in 8th position if you just take the festive fixtures and say F. That's outrageous. You can't do that. But I don't know. What do you want to give them? So they drew to Southampton, they lost to Wolves, they beat Brentford, they drew to Chelsea, and they beat Everton. I mean, that sounds like B for Brighton as well, doesn't it?
F for me.
F, fine, whatever. We drink in F.
Excellent. Let's move on then to Aston Villa. Next up, 13th on actual points, scoring 6 on 6.8 or 7 expected. 6 goals scored, 7 allowed on 6 generated, and 8 conceded expectations. And in terms of the fixtures there, they had Brentford, Chelsea, Norwich, Liverpool, and Leicester. So a mixed bag.
Gerrard's improved them, and now they have Coutinho. It's a bit weird. I don't get how Coutinho and earlier we mentioned Lucadinha. Their numbers remind me a bit of how balanced Leeds were last year. Like the same number of games won, the same number of games lost, the same goal scored as goal against, expected goals versus expected. Like they're very kind of balanced everywhere, which I think for a team in transition and considering how bad they had been before, we were talking about them potentially getting relegated, especially after the big window they had of getting Ings, Buendia, Bailey, and after replacing Grealish. That now they've just found another load of money down the back of the sofa to help bail out Barcelona and take Lucadinha off Everton's book. So I think it's interesting. I don't necessarily think they are as good yet as people maybe make them out to be, but I think it's definitely interesting. I question the main thing about the Coutinho deal that I question is in 6 months, which is it is a loan till the end of the season, potentially with whatever goes on in the future. I don't see what they get for that. I don't think they get Europe. I don't think they're in danger of going down without him. So I don't know. I just thought, do you guys have any thoughts on that, as to what the extra value that Coutinho might bring if it is only till the end of the season?
To me, it sounds like it's probably some sort of shady accounting stuff. They were offloading Coutinho to be able to generate the space. Barcelona, when I say they, to sign Ferran Torres. So my read on the situation, obviously this isn't official or anything, but my read is that this is a long-term plan, and that the weirdness of the 6-month loan is probably just like some financial, magic wizardry to make it more affordable.
From Aston Villa's point of view?
Yeah, well, no, from Barca's point of view. Like,
right,
they needed to cook their books.
Right, so as in, it worked for both parties, as in Barca needed to get rid of him, and like, if you can just pick up Coutinho on a cheap,
you should do it.
Why wouldn't you?
Yeah, and then looking to make it permanent in the summer. But this is a way to just sort of like do it and get him a half season for cheap before you make a big, permanent offer or something. I don't know. Am I wrong there? Am I crazy?
No. I think that's fine. But kind of in a roundabout way, then you kind of agree with what I said, that in the next 6 months, or not 6 months because the end of the season's like May, but in the next 4 months, you know what I mean? He doesn't.
This isn't going to affect Villa's trajectory.
I don't think they get Europe. I don't think they make up the nine points on Man United in 7th to potentially get what would be the lowest place awarded to a team for Europe. So.
Yeah.
Okay.
How about the tinsel window then? So we Villa beat Leicester, lost to Liverpool, beat Norwich, lost to Chelsea, and then lost to Brentford, but in a well-contested match that Villa were probably unlucky to not at least get a draw from with Brentford. So how do we feel about that? It's a bit of a mixed bag, really. Which Villa are a bit of a mixed bag.
Yeah, it's a mixed bag, but I think, like you said before, I say C.
Yeah.
I think in that, apart from Brentford result aside, they beat the teams you probably think they beat at the minute and lose to the teams you think they would lose to.
I was going to say B, just because they got decent pointage compared to a lot of other teams. and they're in the top half for expected points over the window. So, give it a B for Billa. But other than
B for Billa.
There you go. And now we're getting to the teams that were actually pretty good. We're looking at everyone from here onwards is 9 expected points or more over that time frame. They're all teams that have been in the conversation around top 4 over the course of the season, or certainly top 6.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
I mean, they have. Next up is West Ham. West Ham is the worst of the best bunch on 10 actual points, but only 9 expected, 8.9 specifically. 12 goals scored, 10 allowed on 10 and 10 for expectations. Those fixtures were Palace, Watford, Southampton, Arsenal, Burnley, and Chelsea. So a mixed bag there. 3 good London teams, 3 not good outside of London teams. What do we want to give West Ham here?
It's an interesting one, this, because you think of them being 7th in the Tinsel Window, and that's good. Like 10 points from 6 games in isolation is great, but then you compare it to earlier in the season, and they're 5th overall, so it's a bit of a dip, but I think they've done quite well, especially they had a bit of a rocky period, just kind of tailing off at the start of the Tinsel Window, as it were. I think this is really good for West Ham. They still just keep on going at a level that they need to, roughly 2 points per game, in order to finish at the top 6 and legitimately so, not in a Leicester way. So yeah, I think they're good. David Moyes is doing good things.
He is. He definitely is. The result that jumps out to me over the Tinsel Window is the start of it. Which is maybe why I wanted December 10 originally, but fine. And that was West Ham genuinely beating Chelsea, 2.2 to 1.4 on understats numbers. I don't have FPRF in front of me. That's a big result against a team that is, at least in the Premier League, top level. Maybe globally not as elite as we were 6-9 months ago or whatever, but that's like a legitimate result against Chelsea, and they did it. So I think for me, that pushes West Ham over the top into like a B+, A- range.
See, I don't know. It's making me go the opposite way, because it's making me think you get that amazing result against Chelsea, and then you follow it up with a goalless draw against Burnley. There was the Arsenal result, which on underlying numbers was deserved. Yeah. And then the loss to Southampton as well. And so I think
you got a 4-1 on Watford, though, scoring 4 goals.
Yeah, but Watford.
Fair enough.
Watford.
So there's some disagreement here. What are you going to give them then?
Well, I think it takes a bit of a sheen off of that period, but only that there could have been improvements. And so I'd still probably give them, to be objective and fair, I think a B for that period. I think that's fair. It's above average for the position. If they get 3 points against Burnley and you get a point or even 3 points against Southampton, I don't think you can dispute that's an A, even with the Arsenal fixture in there. So yeah, I think a solid B for West Ham in that period, a B for Bubbles.
All right, Ian, you're sort of the tiebreaker. Chuck's at B, I'm at A-. Where are you coming in?
Well, the thing is, I was going to go lower because I was going to go about a C, but but only because I'm judging them on the new West Ham. Like, it feels like to me they're a contender now.
Ian, I love you and it's your birthday, but that's fucking crazy, man. They're not a contender. They're a top 6 team.
They're a European qualification contender.
Well, why do you hang on, Oscar? Why do you say they're not as in Ian's not saying contender for winning the league?
No. I think. Did you mean top 4? I took that as a contender for top 4, but I could be wrong.
Well, Europe, I'd say top 6.
Okay, that I can definitely agree to. Yeah, they are.
Yeah, I was more talking a contender for any European qualification, okay. But they have been in the talk for top 4 last season, potentially this season if Man United carry on doing what they're doing.
Well, I think, if you're going to take top 4 as there's the top 3 is nailed and there's only one team, I don't think it's necessarily a ridiculous thing to consider Arsenal, Tottenham, West Ham, and Man United in the same breath for that 4th spot.
Interesting. Let's see what 538 says. 538 has them at 16% for top 4, which is better than United.
That feels like contendership to me. So for me, it's a C because, as you say, they started well with the win against Chelsea, but then losing against Southampton at home is disappointing. Drawing against Burnley is disappointing. They possibly nicked the game against Crystal Palace, so it's
No, that feels wrong.
Yeah,
to say that as a
Yeah,
Palace
I'm
fan,
gonna
that feels
be
wrong.
with Chuck on that. The numbers
To say they
also
nicked
say
you can't. But no, the numbers for the West Ham game, we battered them underlying, but because of game state,
right.
Not battered them, but you know what I mean. The game state
You
changed
had
so
plenty
much,
of
but
shots
you, I don't think you can count as nicking it when you go 3-0 up in the first half.
Okay, that's possibly true. That is possibly true. Maybe I had in my head the amount of late goals you've conceded. You're absolutely right.
Your vocabulary, not necessarily the content that is incorrect.
Yeah, fine. But I still stand by a C. I think I'm judging them by the new West Ham. Okay. So I would go C. So I guess we average out as a B minus.
Yeah, all right. So we averaged out to Chuck there. The B. It is. B for Best Ham. West Bam.
Bubbles. B for Bubbles.
B for Bubbles. But now let's move up to popping some bubbles. Does that make sense? No, it doesn't. But from one United to another, there we go. Manchester United, 10 points.
What's great is, Oscar, if you just talk in one fluid sentence, it means I can't cut it, So.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But, the listeners can hear my thought process and then see how I get to the transition. It's good. Any of you that want to start a podcast, this is the parts that usually get cut.
Not how to do it.
And after 158 episodes, you can be this slick.
Man United, 10 points on 9 expected, 6 goals scored, 3 allowed on 7.3 generated and 4.5 allowed. The fixtures, there were games against Wolves, Burnley, Newcastle, Norwich, and Crystal Palace.
And therein lies the rub.
Yep, and I'm going to give them an F minus for that shit. Good Lord. That's atrocious. Scoring 6 goals against those teams?
Yeah.
And I will say right now, and I will sound bitter and whatever because of underlying numbers, but the Palace and the Norwich games, they barely won those. They just shouldn't have won those, and Newcastle drew against them, and then it's Burnley.
That's bad.
Yeah, scraping by. I'm surprised that I guess it's just the XG that really gives them the thing, but yeah, Man United scoring 1 goal a game. They're already saying Ranić should go.
Well, because there's no evidence of this pressing football that we were supposed to see. And when you look
none
at these,
whatsoever.
None at all. When you look at these fixtures, teams like Norwich, Newcastle, fair enough they beat Burnley 3-1, but then Wolves as well. You think if they'd have been playing some dynamic pressing football high up the pitch, then you would expect them to be scoring plenty of goals.
They should have got 15 points. They should have got 15 points.
Exactly.
Oh, easy.
Exactly.
They should have got 15 points.
Yeah.
Should have.
I guess when the manager came in and I was like, they're going to be so much better. All they needed was a good manager to organize their talent and stuff. I guess I didn't consider that Ronaldo, that he who will not be named, was still going to be playing every minute of every match at all times and still not doing any running. Because I figured this guy would come in and sort of lay down the law or have the position within the club, having not, been a player there and all that, to actually make those decisions and make those moves. And instead we're just getting he who will not be named, just walking around out there, not doing anything, not do pressing, scoring a goal every now and again so people, remember that he can score, and throwing them way off balance. I don't think that there's a balanced system you can make with someone offering that little pressing-wise if you're a pressing type manager. So until they sort that out, again, going to continue to not be good United.
But how bad do we think this is? Are we calling this as an F? Because I feel like it's an F. When you look at
I said
fixtures,
F minus and I wasn't kidding.
You weren't. That wasn't an exaggeration. Fine.
No.
They got 10 points in 5 games, and I'm not saying this to defend them or anything. They got 10 points in 5 games, which is 2 points per game. In the 14 games before that, they got 21 points, so 1.5 points a game. This is an improved United as a points per game. However, they played 5 teams that they should have won against, 3 of which are the worst teams in the league. And they didn't get 9 points against the 3 worst teams in the league. They got 7, and then Wolves and Palace. So, I don't know, just D and move on. D for don't care!
Yeah, it's the way it looks as well, because when you watch Man United, they just don't look like
oh my God,
anything like the Man United of old. This is just, it's not good at all. Yep, I agree.
Which should bring us lots of joy. Fuck them.
Yes, and speaking of bringing us lots of joy, we'll transition there to our next team, and that is Crystal Palace, the only team I dare not mispronounce. 7 points on 9.5 expected. 10 goals scored, 10 allowed, 9.3 generated, 8.4 conceded. And the fixtures were West Ham, Norwich, Spurs, Southampton, Everton, and United. So a pretty, mixed bag there, but some tough teams in there for sure. I'll tell you about half those fixtures are against big teams or good teams. Chuck, you take it away from here. How are you feeling about Palace over the Tinsel Window?
I don't have a hell of a lot to say because we kind of covered a bit last time, and the season just kind of stays as it is. You look across those 6 games, the only one where we were completely outplayed was the Tottenham game. We went down to 10 men. Who got sent off? Zaha got sent off, I think. For 2 yellow cards, which the opposite happened at the start of the season. Tottenham went down to 10 men and Palace won 3-0. So, balance to that. And they were just better that day. It was kind of, I think that was just after Conte had a couple of weeks with them. And they were a bit rested and they'd been shouted at just enough. And they were running and playing well. Otherwise, the West Ham game, very hard fought. It came close, especially after going 3-0 down and winning the 2 games that, against Everton, who were absolutely terrible, and 3-0, a convincing, easy, no sweat 3-0 against Norwich. I think we came from behind against Southampton, and in the United game, we probably should have got something from that.
Yeah, you did come behind there. You were 2-1 down at one point, weren't you? And I think that was quite impressive, just because...
In my head, we were 1-0 ahead very early on,
Zaha scored early,
and then 2-1 down by half-time, and then it came back to 2-2. And
just feels like in the past, Palace might have... capitulated there, or just given up at 2-1, and it was under Hodgson,
Yeah, I think so, and it's just the manner of it. Like, you could look at these results under Hodgson and it'd be absolutely horrible, but we're still playing nice football. The United game was mostly, we had a few players out for that one, that meant we basically had no creativity coming from defence, like we've had from Joachim Andersen, and we had nothing really in midfield. Eze was coming back, and all we needed was long balls over the top. Like, we had United on toast behind, but there was just no one that could find that pass. So it's just a bit of a shame, but you'd still, in the position Palace are in and where we're at, and as we've said constantly all season, you'd rather be where we are and underperforming, which is that over the Tinsel Window we were 9th on actual and 6th on expected.
6th on expected? Wow, okay.
Yeah, phenomenal.
This is where the caveat starts to come in about the number of games and those kind of things, but expected was 1.5 points per game. So, that's kind of the same level. If we look down, no one on the 4 games actually has done that. 5, no one on 5 games is Man United a bit more, yeah. So there isn't really anyone points per game wise below us that's much better. So I think that's pretty fair and it's good. And Vieira's good vibes and good times. We'll see what's going to happen in the transfer window, if anything. But we're drip feeding players back, and we've lost Zaha and Ayew and Kouyaté to AFCON, but Michael Elise and Eze get chances to play, and we've got Edouard, Mateta's look good, coming in for a few of his cameos. Benteke is still linking up play really, really well, so it's good. It's such a nice time to be a Palace fan. I'd say I'll give us a C for that period, just because of maybe a B- or so, like expecting what I kind of thought and was good, and being that high up at this point in the season and being in single figures to be relegated, like, that's fucking amazing. So unless we go on cataclysmic run, we'll be fine, and we should be an upstairs club come the end of the season.
It's amazing sitting here listening to you and reflecting on, like, we're talking about Crystal fucking Palace being 6th on expected points over the Tinsel Window, and you're giving it a C/B. And and I'm not like, oh, what an unreasonable thing to say. I'm like, yeah, they should have gotten more points out of this. I could see that. Like, the West Ham game, they won 2-7, 2-2 on XG, so they, lost some points there. The Southampton game, they won on XG. I can justify a B, which is B for fucking bonkers, because it's Palace 6th most expected points over the Tinsel Window.
And not just that, over the season as well. Like, if you just thought about the season, we're 6th. Unexpected.
They're amazing.
And XG differential on FBref and everything, so happy days. Woo.
Last season, you had stopped watching Palace. that's how bad it was.
Around about now. Yeah,
that did happen. Yeah,
it did. That legit happened. Like, no, not happening. Now I can't wait.
B sounds good, and let's keep him in the top half.
All right, well then let's get now to the traditionally bigger teams. No disrespect to Palace there, who have been hanging around, but historically aren't that. And that takes us to Tottenham. We are also now into the double digits of expected points. Tottenham posting 11 points on 12.7 expected. Just the 10 goals scored and 3 allowed on 12.4 and 3.5 expected. Their fixtures were Watford, Southampton, Palace, Liverpool, and Norwich. So not the hardest of fixtures by any means. But there are Palace and Liverpool in there, so teams in their area of the table. Just straight up going to get my rating out of the way here. I'm going to say B+ for me. They look light years better than before Conte.
100%. It's granted, it's not hard, and the football they were playing was absolutely fucking shit. But yeah, that's sensational. Over 2 points per game, 10 goals scored, 2 goals a game.
That's it. I think that's it. It's the goals scored and goals against with Conte in charge.
And it matches with the expected as well. And it's underperforming your goals scored,
right?
As well. Their XG was just over 12, and so I think this is it's a phenomenal turnaround, and kind of what you were worried about. In a way, Oscar, that you said might happen with Conte coming in. Granted, they did get that extended period of cancellations for games,
which I think helped with the Palace result. I think that's part of why they came in so prepared and ready to just run over a Palace team that were already kind of tired.
Yeah, and I think it's fair to make a statement they should, not just because it's Palace, but they should target a game, especially after that amount of time. There's
for sure,
no real excuse. And yeah, just doing better, just generally doing better. So yeah, I think a B+, I think is fair. Maybe even bordering on A-. I just think it's, where did they drop points? They only beat Watford 1-0. That was very late on as well, I seem to remember.
They dropped points to Southampton.
Yeah, dropping points to Southampton, I think, takes the sheen off to make it a B+.
And dropping points to Liverpool? No, it was a draw.
They got a fucking draw against Liverpool, man.
Fine. That's not dropping points, yeah.
Yeah.
No.
The only reason it's not an A- for me is because they have Watford, Southampton, and Norwich in there.
Only play who's in front of you on the pitch or whatever they say.
But we have to whatever they say. Yeah. But I think fixtures do when you're talking about a small sample size as well like this, fixtures do come into account. So I think B+ is fair. I think
Yeah, B+. They are, for the record, 31% for top 4 now, which is again night and day, light years from where they were when Conte took over.
Really
so
is.
Really just showing what the value of an amazing manager. And the thought of him having Adama Traore at wingback to play with after I saw him turn not good enough for Sunderland Marcos Alonso into one of the best wingbacks in the world, and Victor Moses into the title-winning right wingback is terrifying. Very terrifying. Don't want to think about it. So let's hope that doesn't happen. Let's move up the table then to Chelsea. Chelsea posting 10 points on 13 expected, 12 goals scored, 10 allowed. Oh, Tuchel, 10 allowed from Tuchel. Insane. On 13 generated and 7.8 conceded. So again, not like they underperformed defensively, but that's bad. It's an F mega minus for me. More than anything, because we are now 2% for the title, according to 538.
Oof. Yeah.
2%. That is done and dusted and good.
Well, it's not. It's not in Chelsea and Liverpool's hands. That's the issue that comes with
it. That's the worry, yeah.
Not only is it not in their hands, City have only dropped 10 points total, and now we're expecting them to drop 10 more than Chelsea and Liverpool drop.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I said last week that it was, Liverpool had to win 17 and draw 2 of their last 19 games to match City if City performed as they had for their first 19.
Exactly.
If you see what I mean. So it's mad.
We don't even have, for the record, the schedule excuse. We had West Ham, Leeds, Everton, Wolves, Villa, Brighton, and Liverpool. That is an easy set of fixtures for what is supposed to be one of the 3 best teams in the world.
There are too many draws there for a team such as Chelsea and teams such as you were playing. There are just too many draws there. So it was a lack of killer instinct. It was, like you say, just getting themselves into situations at the back that they shouldn't have been in. You've now got Kepa coming in. A few Kepa games, that should sort things out.
That'll help. I mean, honestly, but we're 2% for the title, right? So, what difference does it make? We're not going to fall out of top 4. We're not going to catch them. We're just in the island of nothing. We're just going to float till the end of the season with nothing to play for other than the Champions League.
My team's guaranteed Champions League football.
No, Chuck, we've got to give him some here. They've blown it. They have blown it.
Oh yeah, they fucked it. But and especially because you look over the Tinsel window and they're 4th on expected points, but they've played 7 games. Tottenham are 0.09 expected points behind them and have played 2 games less. And then Arsenal are above them on expected points, having played a game less. They've Chelsea fucked it. It's a shame to see, not even the Oscar of it, considering it, as we said last week, Ian. It would have been nice to have kept it going for longer, but I think where it's been over the most congested part of the schedule, that Chelsea and Liverpool have dropped off. It seems like the title race has been pulled out from under us so quickly.
And I do think it literally is because of the fixtures and the congestion and the schedule and the squads. I think City, we should all have infinitely big squads where that stuff doesn't matter. And that turned out to not be true for Liverpool and Chelsea over this festive fixture period. The Tinsel Window.
Tinsel Window.
This is why we call it the Tinsel Window. We couldn't handle the players being out that were out. And that was enough to fucking derail our season.
And for Chelsea, though, you've got 2 players in every position, even more so than City.
I remember everyone before the season going, "Oh, we got 2 full 11s. Look how good our squad is." Funnily enough,
I'm saying we were wrong. I was wrong. I thought that would be enough, and it wasn't. It clearly wasn't. Yeah. These losses, these bad performances, are, in my opinion, largely down to personnel. Conte played 2 of those fixtures and came back early from an injury that he wasn't supposed to be back from yet. We played Saul and Loftus-Cheek as a midfield at some point in there.
Hey, he wore the armband the other day.
I love him so much. I love him so much. And he had himself a good Tinsel Window, actually. He played very well when he was asked to step up. But you can tell from the lineup decision, we had no strikers for the majority of that. And then we were feuding with strikers when they were healthy.
Forcing them at gunpoint to do videos.
Yeah, exactly. It shouldn't have mattered. We should have 2 full 11s, and it did matter. We didn't have enough depth, and it fucked our season.
There we go. So, I mean, are we calling it an F?
I am. I genuinely am, because it's Chelsea.
If you consider what Chelsea should achieve, then they failed in that. So you could give them. And by extension, to jump ahead a bit with my ranking, you could give Liverpool an F as well.
Okay, interesting.
Holler, me too. We'll get to that. But yeah,
Chelsea drew to Everton F.
I'm not gonna give them both Fs, but they both failed. So I'm gonna give Chelsea a D just because they could have failed worse. They could be out of the top 4 in the Tinsel Window.
Oh, don't even joke about that.
They could have. 100%.
Yeah. Fair enough.
So it could have been worse. Therefore, you can't be given an F. Therefore, D.
Okay.
Fair enough.
I think
fair
F.
enough. Yeah, I think also
E, F. Or an E for Edouard Mendy's not there anymore. Arsenal?
Oh, I don't want to talk about this. I really don't want to talk about this.
Is Arteta still a shit manager?
Yes, I will not. I will not concede that point until a much, much, much larger sample size. But they're doing well. Let me try to be as nice as possible here because they deserve niceness here. Arsenal, third most expected points over the Tinsel Window, with one less game played than Chelsea. 12 points on 13 expected, so slightly underperforming, but right around there. 16 goals scored, which is the most of anyone over that time frame on 13.4 xG, which is not the most, but it is third most. They also conceded 5 on 5 expected, and the fixtures were City, Norwich, Leeds, West Ham, Southampton, and Everton. So not really that terrifying other than City being in there. But, you cannot deny those numbers.
Lost to Everton. Yeah, that's fucking weird. What are weird. Everton?
Confusing.
I think you have to look back to the end of when they conceded 14 goals in their first 3 games, something like that. And when they got absolutely destroyed by City. And then you come to the latest fixture where it's 2-1, a well-fought game. The first half, especially tactically, was working very, very well. And I just think there's a lot of growth there. And I think in that way, very young squad come in that you two all said was shit. I said was actually all right.
The grab for individual glory
Apart from Ramsdale. I will always hold my hands up on Ramsdale, but no one fucking knew this was coming. No one in their heart of hearts knew that he could make some saves. And I think Arteta is doing a good job, whatever Oscar may say, because third on expected in the Tinsel Window, second on actual, and for the season as a whole, fourth and fourth. They're fourth place. They're fourth place at an FA Cup. Arsenal are back. They still aren't necessarily good, but if Arsenal are back as fourth place in an FA Cup, that was
Arsenal,
always their
baby.
level.
Was
that was Arsenal, baby.
That's Arsenal right there.
We making a North London stew. You know,
You got a stew going. For the record, I said that Arteta's not a good manager. I didn't say he's not doing well. He's very clearly doing a good job right now. I think he's managing this talent and these players well.
Right.
I think he's transitioning them out of Aubameyang and all his craziness well. But again, until he's done this for a whole season or a lot, until we've seen more, I don't think he's a good manager yet. But I think he's doing a good job. I do think he's doing a good job. And it's important to admit that because he deserves, like I said, praise here.
Right.
5-0 on Norwich and 4-1 on Leeds back-to-back. When's the last time Arsenal scored 9 goals in 2 games?
Manages well, not a good manager. Okay.
Broken clock,
I'll give it...
Broken clock. What are you giving
I've got to give Arsenal an A-. I'm giving Arsenal an A-.
I'm in, yeah.
Everton.
Yeah, that is the only annoying thing there, isn't it? Yeah.
Everton, the City is absolutely fine. That's not a rank changer
No.
Unless you get absolutely torn apart. But
no, they took it to City. That 2-1 is the XG scoreline as well, so that's respectable.
yeah, they took it to him. So yeah, I'm going A-. I think
agreed.
it only gets above that to an A if they beat Everton, and if they got something out of City, that makes it an A+ for me. So yeah, I'll say A- for Arsenal.
I am on board. A- for Arsenal. A for Arsenal. And so if A is for Arsenal, then loser is for Liverpool.
That's how the alphabet goes.
Yep, exactly.
HIJK loser MNOP. Yeah, it works.
Sure.
Fine. L is for Loserpool. Is that better?
I like that as well. I like that.
There you go. 11 points scored on 14 expected, so a good amount of expected points. That's very respectable numbers. 9 goals scored on 14 expected generated, so they wildly underperformed their goals. 6 allowed on 5 expected. The fixtures there being Chelsea, Leicester, Tottenham, Newcastle, Villa, and Wolves. So a pretty hard fixture list in there. And the big number, and the reason it's going to be an F for me, is the 13. And that is the percent likelihood they have of winning the Premier League after the Tinsel Window. 13%. It was a 3-horse race when we went into this, and it is now decidedly not.
Well, we kind of covered it with the Chelsea one, really. They failed. They started off with the 3 results that they should get. wildly underperforming their XG though, only scoring 2 against 5.1 across those 2 first fixtures with Wolves and Villa. Beating Newcastle, fair enough, but then that result against Tottenham was kind of the start of a bit of a slip, and then losing to Leicester again when they generated nearly 3 XG.
An almighty Burnleying, a hilarious, wonderful, holiday festive almighty Burnleying. 2.7 to 0.6 on that one.
Yeah, just got done. So, now they can whinge and moan about all their COVID. Although they had 10 false positives.
Yeah, very strange. There must have been some dodgy testing going on.
Couldn't practice, so had to close. Postponed their Carabao Cup semi-final because they had to close their training ground. Opened the training ground again the next day. Had 10 false positives. And then also Klopp was out and the assistant manager was out for the FA Cup game, I think. And then, Salah, Mane, Keita, are there any others at AFCON? I think it's just those 3 maybe. Absolutely fucked it.
Yeah, they did, at least for both of those teams. I guess maybe I'll upgrade to a D because they did have the best single match of the entire Tinsel window in the Liverpool versus Chelsea match. That was very exciting and fun to watch from a neutral perspective, very painful to watch from a Chelsea perspective. So yeah, a D. I'll upgrade to a D. But yeah, they utterly failed in their one mission, which is to win the title. And they were in good place, and now they are in bad place. So
yeah, D sounds
bad
good.
Place.
Yeah,
second.
Yeah, but it's expectation. You're dealing with.
Oh, third. No, they're in third. Sorry. They are fucked. They are below Chelsea. This is ridiculous. Get rid of
Imagine
Klopp.
being below Chelsea right now. Oh.
Mudded.
Fucking German Holloway.
We have a massive jump, as you might expect, to our last team in the Tinsel window from 13.7 expected points from Liverpool to 18.5 from Manchester City. Expected points, 21. Actual points, 24 goals scored on 21 expected goals and 5 goals allowed on 5 expected goals allowed. They are back on their bullshit, boys. They are City just fucking running riot. This is that team that did 100 XG and 100 goals scored, which is impossible statistically. I don't understand. They're doing their thing, man. 7 wins, no draws, no losses. Like what? I don't, they're so fucking good. They're fun. Mm-hmm. Do I list out the fixtures? Fine. Why not? Arsenal, Brentford, Leicester, Newcastle, Leeds, Wolves, and Watford. Teams, I don't know. It doesn't matter who they're playing. It's City. They're fucking incredible.
Yeah, I think you said it best there with them being back in their bullshit. Is that Sister Act 3? I think is that. Yeah, it just doesn't matter. They just dig out these players like they have their injury crisis and whatever, and Nathan Ake's playing at left back or whatever. Oh, now he scores 2 goals. Oh, who's this kid Cole Palmer who looks like he's going through puberty? Oh, he's fucking incredible. Okay.
Sure.
Oh, Rodri's just going to score from outside the box and shithouse Arsenal fans. Right, we've got Ferran Torres. Yeah, get rid of him. Don't need him. What? Doesn't make a difference.
That is some money laundering, shady ass nonsense going on there.
No money. Barcelona. We touched on it earlier with the Coutinho thing. Barcelona today rewrote Samuel Umtiti's contract. Samuel Umtiti, who they want to get rid of and don't like. He was contracted till 2026. They've redone his contract for the same period. He already had the contract for that period, but they've just dropped his salary massively so that they could register Ferran Torres, who at the minute they haven't spent a penny on, technically.
What? It's unbelievable.
But apparently they're back. It's wild. Yeah, City are just fucking ridiculous. Their XG against Watford 3.6, Wolves 3.5, Leeds 3.5, Newcastle 3.1, Leicester 3.4.
It's unbelievable.
I had no idea it was that ridiculous.
Unfucking real.
3.5 XG against Wolves, but only scored 1. Wolves is like whole overperformance basically for the festive period defensively.
Is that one match?
Brilliant.
It's like City and Liverpool getting like 5 goals, but yeah, the Leeds game it was only 3.5 XG, but it could have been so many more. The Leicester game was at least fun and just chaos. That it came back, I think it came back to 4-3 at one point, and then City just went, okay, we'll do more goals. It's fine,
You've
guys.
had your fun.
They've got potentially what we said Liverpool had a while ago, running away with the league, getting this far ahead. Like, surely they have to win the fucking Champions League this year.
Nope. Chelsea are defending. You heard it here first. We got to do something.
But is that the plan? Just get so far ahead in the Premier League that you can just rest players for the last
Just
They
PSG
have to.
6 games,
They have to. There's no way. And it's been like every year they've gradually got further and further. Even with Pep on his last 8 bullshit where he just goes, oh, fuck it, I'm going to play an inverted Christmas tree formation and have Zinchenko as my striker.
Why not?
And play Zach Steffen in midfield. Like, fuck it, just to confuse them. And really, it confuses his own team more. But no, they're just a horrific destructive force that we've all come to terms with as being many money, many evil, many bad.
They're the COVID of the Premier League.
Oh, no, come on.
Oh, sorry, I couldn't resist. We just live with their omnipresence.
We've got
just
to learn to live with
suffocating
City.
Everything.
Yeah, we've got to learn to live with them.
I mean, is he the best? Sir Alex had a 20-year career, right? So it's like a bit of apples and oranges. But you know how they say in boxing, pound for pound? Is Pep pound for pound the best manager in the history of the English game?
The only tricky thing I'd say about that is because Ferguson, with the longevity, had he reinvented that squad three times.
But it's not just that he reinvented the squad, he also, with the shitter squads, still managed to win the league sometimes.
Yeah, that's true, actually.
Yeah, but Pep has seen the exit of an entire generation of City players. When he took over, it was still Silva, Company, Aguero. It hasn't been...
Company only left 2 seasons ago.
This is what I'm saying. This was still the Yaya Toure City team that won the title when Pep took over, and now none of those guys are around. So there has been a transition there. We're way underplaying that, I think.
There's been a transition, but with no fallow period.
Right. That's even more impressive.
Yeah, but
that so much more. He's changing all 4 wheels on the bus on the fly.
I think you can say pound for pound in terms of impact in a 5-year period. I would say the Guardiola part of it, is a lot better. But I still think Ferguson is better.
Is it too basic to say until they win a Champions League, I can't put Pep up with Alex Ferguson?
I mean, it's the Messi argument, right? There's all those people that are like, well, we can't say Messi's the best of all time until he wins an international tournament.
No, see, I don't think that's the same, because that depends on a country's. It depends on the players you can select from.
That's a career as a whole, as opposed to a fixed job period. I don't necessarily think the comparisons are the same. And also, people that say Messi had to win an international tournament are fucking stupid.
Yeah, I agree. Anyone who
the guy scored 90 goals, 91 goals in one fucking season.
Yeah, I agree. Anyone who says that is ridiculous anyway. But
he normalised. He gets 50 goals in a year, and you're just like, okay.
Yeah, that's the problem.
What?
You just forget how fucking ridiculous that is.
Not to go on a tangent on how he is categorically the best player of all time.
He's the COVID of individual player rankings.
We've got to learn to live with Messi.
I'd say he's the flu. He's the flu because we have learned to live with him.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. He's just there. He's just life.
No, I don't know, Ian. There's as much variance in the Champions League as there is in the World Cup. There's so much noise in that. I don't think the best team wins it.
But we're talking about managers, and when you manage you've moved it to a player who plays for a country where he doesn't have control over the players he's playing with, and etc. Pep has ultimate control over that. Well, he doesn't. You know what I mean? It's director of footballs and stuff these days. But Pep has to sort of reinvent that squad, whatever. But he hasn't won a Champions League, and until we always talk about how that's the pinnacle of club football. Yeah. And until he does that, I can't put him with Alex Ferguson, even though he's clearly an amazing manager. I think he's tactically probably more astute than Alex Ferguson. There's a level of man management that I'm not 100% sure Pep has. We've called him the football pervert many times, and he's a weird bloke. That much is clear. And I think Alex Ferguson was better with man management with his players, and I think that matters. And I know that's old school or whatever, but it does matter. And I think I can't put him up there with Alex Ferguson until he wins a Champions League, I think. I also realise, I'll just go back to that argument, I realise Pep has won the Champions League. I'm just talking about with City specifically. Suddenly realised...
two different teams.
I was going to slide.
Suddenly thought, people are going to think I don't realise that Pep has won the Champions League. But yeah, okay.
Yeah, there is no football outside the Premier League.
I just wanted to make it clear I did know that.
Famously, he only cares about the Premier League, of course.
Okay. Are we all thoroughly depressed about how Man City have steamroller in the Premier League?
I'm not even mad, to be honest with you. If it was Liverpool, I'd be furious.
You would be, yeah.
But they're so beautiful to watch. I just really appreciate them. Like, obviously, I'm upset that it's no longer Chelsea and it was Chelsea. But I don't know. If it was Liverpool that ran away with it, because they were scary for a while there, I'd be fucking livid. But I'm not. I'm just like, oh wow, It's like when Baxter, what does he do? He eats a whole table in Anchorman. I'm not even mad. What is it that the dog does? I haven't seen that movie in like 10 years.
A whole wheel of cheese.
A whole wheel of cheese. That's what it is. Yeah.
I'm not even mad.
I'm not even mad. I'm just impressed. That's my reaction to City. I'm not even mad. I'm just impressed.
You pooped in the refrigerator. Well, enough of this glass case of emotion. That's the Tinsel Window. So I hope you've been paying attention because we got a quiz.
A festive quiz?
Quiz. Festive. Step into Tinsel Window. Step into Tinsel Window. Answering questions forever and ever. Wrote a quiz today. Hope it's not too bad. Question and answer. Deal with it, you pricks. Happy New Year. Merry Christmas. Feliz Navidad.
Yeah, sure.
Feliz Ano Nuevo. Something like that. I've done a quiz based on the window of tinsel that we have just had. Most of the answers probably already happened in the pod. So, we'll see if we listen to each other. Yeah. Excuse me, my drink ran out too early and now I've got that getting to the end of podcast voice. So, without further ado, there will be 8 questions in total. Some are multi-part. If there's a tie, I'll figure out a tiebreaker. Firstly, really simple. How many goals were scored in the Tinsel Window? Is it 158, 168, or 178?
I appreciate the multiple choice.
I do like a multiple choice, yeah.
You're welcome. Yeah, some of them are multiple choice. 158, 168, 178. Question 2. How many goals were conceded in the Tinsel Window? Got ya!
I was like, okay.
You both thought for a second I just wanted to have your faces.
Yeah, I was confused.
Yeah, no, I enjoyed that. I genuinely nearly wrote it as a question earlier. For the second, which 4 teams done the most goals? Which 4 teams done the most goals?
It would have been great as well if you'd have left it and one of us would have done different answers.
Yes, I remember that game where Watford did -10 afterwards.
Yeah.
Next question. Which 3 teams, question 3, which 3 teams concede most goals? While I give these guys a bit of a chance to write down, just thought I'd let you know that you can indeed sponsor this podcast, should you so wish. It might not guarantee an increase in quality, but, might feel better about it, and at least we can buy a few more beers at the Christmas meetup. Just go to patreon.com/milesoffsidepod for more information about all the tiers and lovely goodness. Question 4. Which 3 teams conceded the least goals? The most miserly of teams.
Miserly team, that's good.
Miserly. The Ebenezer Scrooges of the Tinsel Window didn't want to give fuck all away. Question 5. Norwich. Lovely Norwich, the Canaries, the Norfolk, whatever they are, on PES. What is their relegation percentage now on 538?
Oh, shit, that was said, wasn't it?
Is it? Oh. Is it 89%, 91%, or 93%? The way you both wrote then makes me think you've both said the same answer.
Right, did we both move at the same time?
You both moved at the same option.
That's
funny.
Question 6. Which team underperformed their XG by the most, which was by 5.14 goals?
Jesus, that's a lot.
Was it Tottenham's Hotspur,
Oh, but I know it without the choices. Don't read the choices.
Norwich... I've written them down now, you prick.
Okay, all right.
Norwich City, or Liverpool? Or, sorry, Loserpool FC.
Thank you.
Question 7. Which player scored the most goals in the Tinsel Window? And I guess extra point for how many? I've got multiple choice if you want multiple choice.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
Oh, funny that. How the tables are fucking turned when he doesn't know the answer. Was it Jorginho, Bukayo Saka, or Raheem Sterling? And final of the questions, by points per game, who had the best tinsel window? Chelsea, Tottenham, or Arsenal? Okay, how many goals scored in the tinsel window? There was, same as the number of conceded, 158.
Hey!
Gling.
158. City scored 24 of them, which is 15% of all the goals were scored by one
Good Lord.
team. 4 teams, what done the most goals? Manchester City with 24. Arsenal with 16.
Check.
And tied on 12 are Chelsea and West Ham.
I got 3 out of 4.
I got 3 out of 4. I got Chelsea and Spurs so...
Yeah, that's what I had as well. Chelsea and Spurs.
Problem is, Spurs played a lot less games.
Right.
Yeah.
That's why I think they did 11. But anyway, 3 teams, what done conceded the most goals were Leeds with 17, Norwich City with 14, and Newcastle United with 12.
Oh, well done. I went Watford for the last one, so yeah, okay.
Ooh. 3 teams that were the most miserly conceded less goals. Wolves, of course, conceded the least with 2 goals in 5 games, and then with 3 goals apiece, Manchester United and Tottenham Hotspur conceded the least.
Yeah, I only got
Wolves,
one of those.
Man U,
I got 2 of those.
Ouch.
2 of those.
I think I'm in trouble.
Basically, yeah. Norwich's relegation percentage on 538 is 91%. I already know you both... What? You didn't get that right?
No, I said 93. But remember, I'm on a delay because I'm across the ocean.
You were the one that said it.
What?
I know. I don't know.
I
I forgot.
actually listened, Oscar.
There you go. I was too busy reading.
Which team underperformed their XG the most? And that was Liverpool.
Loserpool, yeah.
Loserpool underperformed their XG by 5.14, Norwich by 3.3, and Tottenham by 2.37. The player what scored the most goals of the tinsel window was Raheem Sterling.
Oh, no.
Yes. I got
and
Sterling.
he scored
3.
3.
Yeah.
You're an idiot.
What?
The correct
I said
answer was
4.
5.
5.
Raheem Sterling was on 5. Jorginho and Saka were both 4 as well.
No, I said Saka 4. But neither of those is the right answer.
I mean, so you were right, but it was you just answered the wrong question.
Correct.
By points per game, who had the best tinsel window? Chelsea, Tottenham, or Arsenal? Oscar already knows it's not Chelsea.
Nope. Spurs.
It was Tottenham Hotspur with 2.2 points per game to Arsenal's 2 points per game. Tot up your scores out of a possible, I don't know, like 17.
Whatever. Yeah.
Maybe.
16. I got 11.
Oh, you got 11, which means Ian can choose whose music he plays now.
It's up to you.
Yay!
Hey. Oh. Hey. New York.
New year, new him. Congratulations, Oscar Puente, arresting your slide in the quiz to bring it back, maybe, to Ian 6, Oscar 5.
No, it's tied now. Ian is ahead by 1.
Nah, he was
Also,
ahead by
it's
2.
like 8-7 or 8-8. We're losing quizzes at this point.
Look, it's 6-5.
I'll take it. I mean, you're the quiz wizard, so.
Yeah, we are in the middle of a game week. Who knows what the fuck is going on? Maybe the games are happening, maybe they're not. We got Southampton, Brentford, and West Ham, Norwich this week. And then straight away on Friday, Chucky's big 3-1. Brighton Palace. Fuck, if we don't win when it's on my birthday, it's on my birthday. Oh, right then we go into Saturday. Man City, Chelsea. Oh, you're fucked. Burnley, Leicester, Newcastle, Watford, Norwich, Everton, Wolves, Southampton, Aston Villa, Manchester United. Sunday, Liverpool, Brentford, West Ham, Leeds, Spurs, Arsenal. And then it is a double game week for all you FPL and draft nerds out there. Tuesday, the 18th, we got Burnley, Watford, Brighton, Chelsea. Then Wednesday, Leicester, Spurs, probably not. And Brentford, Man United. Oh, yeah, and also Leicester play earlier on the 15th as well. That probably won't happen as well. So, lots of games. And with that, I think it's time to get out of here. That's Oscar has an alarm to say when he's literally had fucking enough. So thank you very much for listening. It's been an absolute pleasure to have the three of you back in this most glorious 20 of 22. Say goodbye, Oscar Puente.
Happy birthday, Ian. I love you. Happy almost birthday, Chuck. I love you too.
Yeah, thank you very much. Say goodbye, birthday boy Ian the Stimson.
Cheers, mate. Happy birthday to you, Chuck.
And thank you to producers Johnny, Nate, Mark, Sam, Jeff, Andy Penpraise, who's from Sutton.